Okay, it's week 14. We're approaching the end of the season where these games, for some teams, these games are meaningless. Like for the Bears, 7 and 10, 8 and 9, 6 and 11 doesn't make much of a difference. Nagy's getting fired. But if Nagy still gets fired at the end of the season, no matter what, I'd kind of rather go 9 and 8 or 8 and 9, get a couple more wins, beat the Vikings. But if I had a choice, if I got a choice between picking one win or getting like two random wins or something, I would really want them to win. If I had a choice between them winning one more game, so they're gonna go 5-12. I think any Bears fan with a brain is gonna pick this game. But I'm playing the Packers at Lambeau. They played somewhat decent if they didn't shit the bed with awful reffing. They could have beaten them last time, so it's not out of the question. But I never start with um, the Bears. That's always the last prediction. We're I First thing we're gonna do is let's check the ESPN playoff machine, and let's see who is in right now as of week 14 and after I put in my picks. It's also cold as hell. So yeah, they're gonna clinch most likely. They need a win versus the Bears, which I hope they don't get, and a Vikings win. So they're going to be rooting for the Steelers pretty hard to clinch. So, regardless of that, we got all of our matchups. Arizona, New England in the first seed, Buffalo in the seventh seed trying to hang on. And what? Are they out? Oh, no, I don't want Pittsburgh to make the playoffs. Ew. What? Oh, okay, I didn't expect that. Those aren't going to be my picks, though. So, let's start off with Thursday. It's week 14. Another week of football. More Bears football. Packers are coming off the bye at home. Lions are coming off their first win. I talked about that in the recap. And the Vikings coming off an embarrassing loss. They had potential after they beat the Packers a couple weeks ago. It was looking pretty good for them, but they've lost two straight. And the Steelers, I can see this getting going both ways. Um, but after you lost to the Lions, and after they were able to beat the Ravens, it's the Vikings. I do think the Bears are going to be able to beat them, and the Steelers beat us. So I do think that um, the Steelers are going to probably come up on top, but I will not be shocked. And I do kind of want the Vikings to win this game just to make sure they don't clinch this week. I'm petty like that. Okay, exit full screen. So I got the Steelers winning 27 to 17 versus the Minnesota Vikings. Next up, let's do all the interconference matchups first. So, Seahawks at the Texans. This is going to be a bad game. A very bad game. We got two very bad teams with the Texans and the Seahawks. A combined record of 6 and 18. Texans obviously are the worst team, but they were able to upset the Titans, which still shocks me very much. But the Seahawks were able to upset a winning opponent. They were 6 and 5 going into this game. They lost. So it's just like I'm gonna have to go with the Seahawks on this one. They're starting to get a little bit of momentum, but I don't see them winning many games. But I think this is gonna be one of their few more wins. So I got the Seahawks winning this game 31 to 16. The Texans are bad. They're going to probably be a second or third round pick, depending on if the Jags win a game. And maybe if the Lions win one more, they might. These two three teams are the only ones that are actually competing for this first overall pick. But with that win, it's getting kind of New Orleans Saints versus the Jets. The Jets are 3-9. They had a very ugly win over the Texans, not last week, but the week before, week 12, and then an ugly loss versus the Eagles, a team that they have never beat ever, which I think is the only series that's like that in the NFL. Eagles are 12-0 against them. 12-0 if you count preseason because they tied in the preseason, but people don't count that. So the Jets, they're 3-9. They're not good. The Saints, however, 5-7. They have dropped the last one, two, three. They have dropped the last 5 straight games. They have not won since the Halloween upset in Week 8. I remember that. I was out trick or treating with my younger brothers, and I saw the score, and I'm like, oh damn, they actually pulled off the upset. That was nice. But since then, they lost to the Falcons in an upset. Titans, Eagles, Thanksgiving blowout versus the Bills, and it's just an ugly game versus the Cowboys. And I see their playoff chances are pretty much shot, but I do see them kind of righting the ship a bit, and I do see them winning this game. It's not even going to be a contest. I do expect some upsets will happen, but it's not going to be this game. Saints 28, Jets 14. Giants at Chargers. Now the Giants are falling apart. They have no incentive to win because they have 2 good draft picks. The only game that I think they really have a big incentive to win would be the one against Chicago, and I don't think they win that one. I mean that's a win-win game for the Giants. No matter who wins, they get a better draft pick. The Bears win, they get a better draft pick. If they win, I'm pretty sure though they'll rather win that game on their behalf instead of losing. Since no matter what happens, your draft stock improves. So it's a win-win for the Giants. But Chargers coming off a blowout win against the Bengals. This Chargers offense is amazing. They have put up 40 plus points like wow the last few weeks. Like almost every game. That's impressive. And for that reason, I got the Chargers putting on another offensive clinic. 42-21. This Chargers team is good. Will they make some noise in the playoffs? Maybe, but I'm not a big fan of Los Angeles sports. I don't like the city, so I'd much rather have a team. Of course, my favorite AFC team is the Bills. I'm a big Bills guy. The Browns, they need to get some wins fast if they want to be sneaky on the 7th seed. This AFC playoff race is very competitive. Very. This is one of the most competitive playoff pushes I've seen in a long time. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions versus the Denver Broncos. The Lions, of course, are coming off their first win, and it was one hell of a win. The Bears lost to the Cardinals. I saw it live, and then I switched the channel because I heard that the Lions were doing a push. So I switched the channel. Oh, dog's barking. And I saw that last drive, final throw, 4th and 2, touchdown. Lions win 29-27. After the tragedy in Oxford, Michigan State blew out Iowa, and they're going to the college playoffs. It's good. I'm really happy for Michigan. They're having a rough time right now. With tragedy. I think the Lions were bound to win 1 or 2 games this season, and I think it came at the perfect time, and it was one hell of a win. Last second walk-off touchdown. This team has lost off walk-off scores, like 3 walk-off field goals. It's only karma that they win one off a walk-off. Hell of a win. One of the most dramatic and biggest wins for the Lions in a very long time. They needed that, so props. And they're going against the Broncos, 6-6. I don't see the Magic was good, but I don't see them. I think they're gonna fall back down. They had a nice win, but at the end of the day, they're still the Lions. And I see the Denver Broncos winning an ugly game at home, 21 to 21 to 10. I think that's the feeling it's gonna be a slugfest. Okay, I'm gonna skip over that one. Actually, no, I'm just gonna do it. Bills at Bucks. This right here is a good game, a very good game. Um, it's like wow. So the Bucks are at home versus the Bills, two elite teams. Bucks are 9-3, Bills are 7-4. Um, it's just like these two teams are good, have a lot of offensive talent. I think it's gonna be a very high scoring game, a very aggressive game. The Bills are gonna really want to win this game because Brady has the man that has pretty much been your father for the last 20 years, my entire life, with the exception of 2 seasons. The Patriots have won the AFC East every season, with the exception of 2008, where they missed out at 11-5, which I don't think would happen today of the 7th seed. Hell no. And 2020, where they had their first bad season in like a gazillion years, and the fans went crazy. Welcome to the NFL. You're not going to win the Super Bowl every year. And some fans actually jump ship. If you're going to jump ship from the Patriots, a team that has won 6 Super Bowls in 20 years, that is like a Super Bowl every 4.5 something years, you are not built to be a football fan. You are not. That is, if you expect your team to win a championship every year, wholeheartedly expect that, you're an idiot. Because no team, no matter how good they are, is going to win a championship every year. And if that was the case, the league would suck. No one would watch, and it would fold. That's just a fact. This isn't Retro Bowl where you can take your favorite team, the Bears or whatever, and like go 16-1 or 17-0 and win 10 Super Bowls in a row. That will never happen. Hope it never happens because that would probably kill the league. But the Patriots, you kind of found the golden. They spaced them out enough to the point where fans can still appreciate them. They had a little, I think, almost 10 years. Yeah, almost a 10-year gap between winning a Super Bowl. They lost to 2 of the Giants. Best dynasty to ever exist. That's just a fact. But I respect them, but I don't like them. But I just have a feeling Bills lost to their biggest rival. They are in a must-win mode right now to even hang on. And I just have a feeling that they're going to go in and upset the Bucks in a very close, very high-scoring game, 33-30. Great game. I hope this is. Oh no, that's not Sunday night. Packers and Bears is Sunday night. Ooh, that should be Sunday night. I don't want to be embarrassed on primetime. It's gonna be a great game. I think Brady's gonna throw for like 4 touchdowns or whatever. It's gonna be good. Next up, Bengals and 49ers. Now, for the sake of the Bears playoff picture, which I mean doesn't exist anymore, we're not gonna make the playoffs. But for the sake of it, I want the Bengals to win, and I do think the Bengals are gonna win. Because if they don't win, Pittsburgh gets in. I don't like Pittsburgh. I don't. I really don't. The Bengals are a better team. They have an offensive powerhouse. The 49ers they're injured. They're just not the same. I got the Bengals winning this in a relatively high-scoring game. They're going to bounce back from an ugly defeat, 31-20. Bengals win. Next up, let's do AFC. Okay, so these two teams have played each other back to back. If you count the bye week, I don't count that as a game or a week. So they're playing the Ravens back to back pretty much. Ravens fell to the Browns, not the Browns, the Steelers. Because they're going to be angry, but the Browns are coming off a bye, healing up from injuries. And I do think they're going to split this series, and I do think the Browns are going to come out hot at home. I know it's not a Sunday night game. I know this is a noon game. Since they're coming off a bye, I do think the Browns, they're going to play an ugly game of football. This is a regression year. They're going to regress this year, but I do think they might have the potential to squeeze in maybe. So I got the Browns winning this game 24-17. Nice. Next up, the Jags and the Titans. The Titans, they lost a few divisional games. They lost to the Texans a couple weeks ago, which was a game that they should have not. There's no reason they should have lost that game. Like at all. But it is what it is. And yeah, they shouldn't have lost that game. They lost it, but I don't think they're going to make that same mistake again. They're not going to lose to a 2-win team like the Jags. I think the Jags might score a little bit more points. It's not going to be a total blowout. I think they're going to put up more than 7 points. But I got the Titans winning this game 35-14. Actually, no, 13. Actually, I'll think a little. Nah, I already did 31 too many times. Yeah. Next up, got the Raiders and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are resurging. They had a very rough, ugly start, starting off 1-2, 2-2, 2-3. Yeah, they started off a little, but since they have not lost since week 7. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight wins. They have not lost a game in over a month, and I see that trend continuing because the Chiefs. Yeah, Mahomes isn't doing his best. He's not doing his best in his career, but I do think it's going to be enough to get past the Raiders, and this loss should pretty much knock them out of playoff contention unless they win out. So I got the Chiefs winning this game 26-14. Okay, now on to the NFC. The NFC, let's go. The Falcons are taking on the Panthers. Two teams that Panthers, of course, they started out the season promising 3-0. But since then they're 2-7. Sam Darnold he is not the future for the Panthers organization. His best bet to have a somewhat successful career is somehow convince a competitive team like the Bucks or the Cardinals or the Bills or something to pick him up as like a third stringer or a practice squad. Because I do believe they get credit if they win. So that's going to be the only way I think Sam Darnold's going to get a ring. That's his best bet. So, Falcons, Panthers. Falcons, of course, have lost. Well, they're the Falcons. They're coming off, awful loss versus the Patriots. A nice win, ugly win over the Jags. And then a loss to the Bucks. I think there's a little pattern, win, loss, win, loss. I think that's going to continue. And I got the Falcons kind of upsetting the Panthers in a close one. Fate's going to be decided by a field goal by Younghoe Koo. Did I pronounce it right? I'm sorry if I didn't. 27-24. Falcons win. Next up, the Washington football team. At home versus the Cowboys. Washington football team, of course, is a playoff. It's a playoff team. A playoff team that actually gave the Bucks a run for their money. They played a really nice game versus the Bucks. Put up 23 points. I think it was their closest game. It was their closest game all season, except not all season, but in the playoffs, except the NFC Championship versus the Packers. Who did they? Oh, they played the Saints in the divisional, and of course, they blew the fuck out of the Chiefs, like 31 to what, 10, 12, 9 or something. I don't know, 31-10. No, no, 9, 9. But yeah, I just have a gut feeling that I still think the Cowboys are gonna make the playoffs. I think they're gonna win the division, but I think they're gonna be put on check. They're gonna be put on notice that it's not a runaway division anymore with this winning streak. And I'm actually gonna have the Washington football team upset the Cowboys in a very close, very defensive game, 21 to 17. You know, 21 to 20, very close, very intense game. Next up, we got the Rams and the Cardinals. Oh wow. So Rams, they've collapsed. Not really a total collapse. This isn't like last year with the Steelers. There's still plenty of time. They're still in the fifth seed comfortably in a wild card spot. But they got a desperate win they needed versus an awful team. If they lost that, they should have just dropped out of the playoff race. Uh, you can't lose to the Jags. But I do think their win is not going to start a streak. I think the Cardinals are going to play a tough game. Rams are going to play tough, but I think the Cardinals are going to keep coming out. And I think with this win, they'll clinch. Let me check that. Unload. So let's see. Okay, so uh, they will clinch the playoffs if the Cardinals beat the Rams. Yeah, if they win this, they clinch the playoffs. It'll be a 6 seed, yeah. Um, they wouldn't clinch they wouldn't clinch like any of these seeds. They wouldn't win the NFC West. But let's see, who are they playing next week? Oh yeah, they pretty much clinch once they win this. So I got the Cardinals winning this game. I think it's gonna be a close one by a touchdown. 24-16. The Cardinals clinched the playoffs. They are the first team to clinch the playoffs. Depending on, oh wait, no, that's Monday, so they wouldn't be the first team. Next up, the Chicago Bears, my beautiful beloved Bears, with Justin Fields starting, versus the Green Bay Packers. Now, it's obvious who the better team is. It's the Packers. They're 9-3. We're 4-8. Should be 5-7. We could easily be 6-6 if we just stop the backup quarterback from getting a touchdown versus the Ravens, and we didn't get ref balled to death on Monday Night Football versus the Steelers. Those two things didn't happen. We would be 6-6 right now. Simple as that. And I do think we would have had a potential to upset the Cardinals if Justin Fields was playing. But Justin Fields is playing now. All that matters is seeing him play. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to do good. It's what a rookie quarterback does. And at this point in the season, that's really all I care about. I do see a potential that we somehow upset. And if that is the case, this will be the win of the season. Even if we somehow win out and go 9-8, this will be the most important win of the season. Unless we win a playoff game somehow and make it, which won't happen. Even if we win out, there's still a chance. I don't think we're gonna make it at 9-8, but who knows? Bears. You got Tevin Jenkins back. Montgomery, I think, is okay. Some players are coming back. Angry and Packers, their backup quarterback, Jordan Love, is gone. Kurt's coming up. They had a little COVID scare. I don't know. Who knows what might happen. It is Wednesday. There might be an outbreak, or who knows what might happen. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, plus it's at night. So 4 whole days. There might be injuries. But unless, like, Rodgers is out, or something, or they forfeit. I just, as much as it pains me to say, I just don't have the Bears winning this game. And, it makes me sad. It makes me really sad. But I do have the Bears making this a closer game than they may want with Justin Fields. 27 to 21, but I really hope I am wrong. I am very hoping I'm wrong, and I'll be very happy to report that I was wrong. It's a win-win for me. But I would much rather be wrong than right on this one. So go Bears, prove me wrong. Here are my Week 14 predictions. Please prove me wrong, Bears. It's Packers week. If you only win one more game this season, make it this one. Just make it this one. Thanks for watching.